Hey, yes, season 4 is still in the works. It's coming in just a couple of months. In the meantime, we're partnering with a few shows that we're super into so that we can share those shows with you. So today we have an episode from the So You Wanna Run a Restaurant podcast powered by Back of House. Back of House connects restaurant operators with the technologies and ideas they need to move their businesses forward. It's pretty cool. The episode that we're sharing features Cynthia Wong of Life Raft Treats, a decorated pastry chef who left the fine dining industry to start an innovative ice cream novelty food truck that has blossomed into a thriving digital business. I really loved this episode because there was a lot of talk about fine dining and specifically the toxic kitchen culture of fine dining and how Cynthia got out to start her own thing. It's a really fascinating conversation. So we'll be back with a few more guest episodes before season 4. Hope you like the conversation.
All right. Well, Cynthia, we are so excited to have you on the show today to talk to you about your career pivot, how social media and e-commerce has fueled your business and your growth, and what's next for Life Raft Treats. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Cynthia, it's so nice to have you on. I'll kick us off with a couple of a very easy question, kind of starting at the beginning here. And from what I understand, before Life Raft Treats, you had a pretty well-traveled and well-recognized career as a fine dining pastry chef, which in my experience is talking to people, that's actually like one of the more, that's more complicated and interesting jobs in the field or in the industry. What was that like? And what about that kind of work drew you into what you're doing now? How did that form where you're at?
Well, one of the main things that kind of work drove me to was getting out of it, honestly. And that sounds,
I wanted to ask that, but I didn't want to say
I know it sounds terrible, but I kind of was a late bloomer, and sort of my career kind of took off when I was in my mid-30s, and was already kind of not really keen to be around a bunch of 20-year-olds who wanted to drink every night anyways. And didn't really love that part of restaurant culture. And as I had kids, I was like, okay, I kind of can't take these bros seriously anymore. And I can't take this sort of like, oh, well, I worked 100 hours this week. Well, I worked 130 hours this week kind of thing. And, I was kind of starting to see pastry chef jobs as really something that was beginning to die out. And the kind of job that I needed to have to be able to just put my children in daycare so that I could work, or these huge jobs with like big teams and multiple locations. And I just got really exhausted from it. And I found myself at a point where I didn't really love making food anymore. And that was the whole point, was to make food and love making it. And that just kind of got worn out of me. So I bailed.
Yeah. I also read somewhere that you said that you made over 80,000 croissants and that you never want to make another croissant ever again.
That's 100% true. I will eat them with great delight if someone else has made them.
Yeah.
But life will be fine if I never see another sheeter or a block of butter or any of that stuff ever again.
Honestly, the burnout, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start with that question too, is because I know the burnout on that side is real. And sometimes that sends people screaming away from the industry entirely. But it looks like obviously this is something that kind of helped you to redefine what you do within the industry. So, and obviously work balance is a huge part of that. You're talking about with your kids and things like that, especially post-COVID, we're seeing how people are all of a sudden realizing there are a lot more important things in life. So I was really wondering, I see the work-life balance industry was a huge driver for you in general, but could you tell us like how does that factor into what you're doing now too? Because that's, I think, on the top of everyone's minds as we kind of go back to normal, or God willing, go back to normal, and businesses kind of pick up where we left off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, within my company, people have the option to work a 4-day work week. And we have one member of our production team who works 5 days a week because he's in school. And I just fully believe I cannot exist without my team. I am nothing without them. I can't run this business. There's no point. And so they are honestly the top priority in the company. It's not really even the product. The customer obviously is very important, but the team comes first every single day, all day long. Their needs come first. I will sell my furniture. I'll pawn my car before anyone has a paycheck that bounces or anything. And so that was really informed by my experiences in restaurants and, that kind of terrible restaurant culture where it just feels like, I don't know, like a giant meat grinder and you're going to get squished out of it. I just didn't want any more of that. And I didn't want to have a company where I did that to other people either. And so that's just the whole thing. It's, we have everyone full-time, part-time gets 6 paid sick days a year. And that includes mental health. If you're like, I am really tired and I'm fighting with my roommate or whatever and you need a day off, you take a day off. I don't want you to be at work if you are having, a rough time of things. It also includes taking care of an ill family member or taking care of an ill pet or an ill friend. Like, I just really, really believe that life comes before work. And there's no excuses to ever, have it be the opposite.
That's awesome. Very refreshing.
Okay, so you took those ethos and you decided, hey, I'm going to now create Life Draft Treats. I'm curious what drove you to do ice cream and what made you think, hey, I want to start exploring ice cream, because also you're our first ice cream, I don't know what you'd call it, ice creamateur? Ice cream creator that we've had on the show.
In France,
you're our first ice creamer.
Right. Yeah. It sounds so fancy.
It does.
And how that started, and then how the treats started afterwards. So I want to hear about that journey.
I always really liked novelties, like the ice cream novelties, like the little things that you would get out of a package and they're their own contained little unit. And I always preferred novelties to scoops. But the whole balance of life thing, the big factor was, well, I can, within certain boundaries, make everything I need to make and put it in the freezer and go to the beach. That was like a huge deciding factor.
That's amazing.
I was just like, I'm done working all the time. Yeah. I'm done like breaking myself. I'm going to make this ice cream and then I'm going to take my kids to the beach and then I'm going to drink a bottle of wine with my husband and have a life. But also I was really, really inspired by a trip to the Ile de Ré off the Atlantic coast of France. There is an ice cream maker there named called La Martiniere, and they've been there forever, and they just do amazing things. And I looked at that and I was like, God, it'd be so cool to do something like that. And so once I got backed into the corner of working in restaurants and I was like, I got to get out of here, I was like, well, why not that? Like, at this point, what's left? I don't want another giant restaurant job, so why not this? So I just did it. And kind of sometimes, when you're fortunate enough and you're privileged enough to just be able to just leap off the cliff, those things kind of work out because you're so backed into a corner, you don't have time to be afraid and worry about things. You just go.
So it did all start with a glacerie in France. Our technical part of it did.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I've been meaning to go. That's my next trip that I'm planning for myself, is to get out there. So I'll have to pick your brain when we're done. But so I'm
oh, God, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. After the last few years, I think we all can enjoy a little trip to eat ice cream off the coast of France. But
right?
Yeah, if nothing, to just feel like we're going back to normal. So I do also, I love how we're still talking about reasons why you started this business, but it's all coming back into the idea that you really wanted that work-life balance, but also, like you said, being able to go to the beach, put it down, and to walk away from it, which in the restaurant industry is very, very, that's not something that people do.
Oh gosh, no.
I mean, I think when you starting off Life Raft, you started off as running a bit of like a mobile food cart or a truck, just for the sake of the listeners who maybe don't know. What was that like, coming from the pastry chef kitchen and that kind of like large environment and transitioning what you do into a much smaller and what some would call a little handicapped experience, because you're not dealing with like the same amount of space or the same equipment, I guess.
I had the great fortune of working in small chef-driven restaurants where, they opened it with their own money and there's no big budget for fantastic equipment and things like that. And, one of the places I worked in, if you didn't get there early enough, you were going to be prepping on top of the fax machine. So that kind of like forced MacGyverism or whatever suited me really well. Like, it was just, it wasn't hard. Like, there were other things that were hard, like dealing with the physical aspect of an actual truck itself and a generator and tires and the water tank and all that stuff was like, oh my gosh, this is a really steep learning curve. But the transition to, kind of just scraping it all together just honestly felt really natural because, there's so much bootstrapping in kitchens, whether you're in a really fancy one or not.
Good point. Yeah.
So I want to talk about now the not fried chicken.
Sure.
Which even includes the chocolate cookie bone in the
Yes.
middle, which is super creative. And I love that all of these layers. And I feel like the thought process, I was reading about the ice cream and there's so much thought that goes into it. Like you said before, it has the novelty feel to it, given that, you're recreating these mostly savory things in their ice cream and you take a bite into it and, oh, wow, I didn't realize it. But there's so many layers. How did you develop that? And when did you notice that it was really becoming a thing?
It was one of those like total working mom exhaustion things where I had gotten home from work, and this is when I was still in a restaurant kitchen. I'd gotten home from work, and I think the kids were in the backyard, and I was half asleep on the couch, and I thought, it would be really funny. It'd be really funny to make an ice cream drumstick. It was like a drumstick. It just kind of started off as like a stupid joke in my head.
Yeah.
And then I went to work the next day, and I was like, "Hey guys, let's make an ice cream roast, like a piece of fried chicken." And they're all like, are you okay? Do you need to go home? What are you talking about?" And I was like, just watch. And I just messed around with it for a little bit. The first iteration was going to be biscuits, like chicken and biscuits. It was like a biscuit flavored ice cream, but that didn't really translate. The biscuit part didn't taste very biscuity. It was just kind of like, this is kind of salty. Okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then so it made sense to kind of do like waffle. So it was like a waffle ice cream, and that tasted really good. So we just kind of went from there, and it just kind of took off. And the cookie bone was just another joke in there. And people had a really funny reaction to it when we started off. Like people would like say, "What is this? Is there actual chicken in this? This is kind of gross. This is kind of weird." But then when you caught the attention of the people who got it and liked it, they were like, oh my God, what is this? And they would go get a friend and come back to the truck and say, "You have to eat this right now." And that person would be like, "Oh my God, it was so great." So it was just one of those kind of things that just really grabbed people's attention one way or the other. And it just worked. I was really lucky.
You're super creative, and it's a very creative thing to do. I see a lot of that. Like that's clearly, I feel like a lot of time pastry chefs they're the unsung heroes of the culinary world because it takes that kind of creativity and that kind of expertise or that artistry to like come up with something like that. Your food looks amazing. I wish if anyone, who's listening to this can go and Google it, they'll see what I mean. But it reminds me of that fad that was happening on the internet for a second where everyone was like, "Oh wait, this is actually a cake." Well, like when you cut into something,
all of a sudden
you're like,
It's not toilet. It's not toilet paper. It's cake. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that stuff. I think it's just so funny, and I and a lot of inspiration came from the plastic food outside of Japanese restaurants.
Oh.
I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. Like obsessed. I was like, "Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that." Just like all the fake food. And I remember being somewhere with my parents and seeing the fake plastic food and pointing at it and saying, "I want that." And my parents were like, "I don't think you really do want that." I was like, "No, I want that." And they made it. I can't remember what it was. It came out and I was like, "Yeah, I don't want this."
You don't actually
But it looks so cool.
Yeah.
It's plastic food. I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And just all that kind of like sort of mildly, I don't know, in our kitchen, because, we don't take ourselves very seriously. We call it prank food. It's like a prank almost.
Prank.
And it's fun.
It is. That's the thing. It's so creative. It's unique. No one's expecting that, right?
Yeah.
Because not anyone can just jump into the kitchen and make ice cream that looks like a fried chicken leg. That's just really, that's.
I have to tell you, when I saw the Thanksgiving meal, I had to I did a double take.
Yeah,
I mean,
honestly.
First off, I literally did a double take. I thought to myself, wait, this is all edible dessert? It's amazing. Folks, if you haven't seen it, you need to Google it online and take a look at it. And I saw too that you sold out like instantly. You restocked and then it sold out again instantly. So people love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we were very fortunate when we started making these things, that we made them at a time when, everyone was kind of sitting at home looking at things, and we were really lucky with the timing.
Also, I imagine that sort of thing too. It's like it's a bit of a highlight to have that come through when you're kind of down in the dumps. It's like, okay, can you believe we're eating this like Thanksgiving meal and in the midst of all this?
Like when we've been serving ice cream on the truck and someone gets a piece of not fried chicken and they bite into it and they start laughing, that's the ultimate compliment to me. It's just like, it's supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah.
It's absurd in a good way.
It's totally silly and totally ridiculous, and it's all like bougie stoner food, but it's supposed to make you laugh.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I would love to hear a little bit more then about just how you've gotten it out there through technology, and especially your presence in e-commerce and Goldbelly, and how that's worked for you, and how that's really helped grow this, and the exposure that your items have received through those platforms.
I like the first 2 years of doing this, it was kind of a joke with me and my friends that I just had developed this other really expensive, time-consuming hobby, because it's mostly just me, and I had this wonderful person. She's still with the company, but she had been my intern at the last restaurant I was in, and she'd kind of drop in a couple days here and there to sort of help me out. And it just, I was in a commissary, and it just didn't really feel like a real company. It was just what I was doing because I needed to go somewhere during the day. And like when people would actually come and buy things from me, I was like, oh my God, people want this. This is amazing. This is incredible. And, we were starting to do some sort of events and things like that in 2019. And my husband still had a full-time job outside of the company, and he was absolutely paying all the bills. And I was just doing this kind of like silly ice cream thing. And then when the shutdown happened, I was at home and I was like, oh my God, okay, we've kind of sort of got to think about all this stuff. And, everyone was trapped at home looking at their phones. And so it started to really work out for us. And we started getting more and more into the novelties and the really fun looking things. And then so eventually in the fall of 2020, we started shipping through Goldbelly, and it took off, because we're in Charleston, and Charleston's great, but we still don't have a shop yet. But the market for funny novelties is, it's kind of limited in a city this size. So we got to reach a crowd of people that really like to eat new, fun things. And
it's also,
that just really worked for us.
In my opinion, a very giftable
just
food
really,
item.
really, really lucky.
Yeah, no, it's
it's like...
How has it been? I've used Goldbelly to ship. I've shipped my dad in Georgia a bunch of lobster from Maine.
Yeah, it's
like
great.
Stuff like that. It's like, it blows my mind.
Great.
He was thrilled by it. Actually, I am certainly going to send him a bunch of not fried chicken.
Nice.
I think it's a really cool idea. But I'm very curious. So with Goldbelly too, was that a huge ramp up? When I'm sure that obviously created a bit more work for you guys in terms of packaging and figuring out how to execute it.
It was, oh gosh, yes. And it was an absolute game changer in terms of what was going on with the company. My husband left his full-time, super nice corporate job, with benefits and all that stuff, left it and joined the company to help me run it because I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I need someone like you, but I could never possibly afford someone like you, but we're married, so you're trapped and you're going to do this with me now. And so I was like, that's it, bud. You're going to have to do this. And he was actually really happy to get out of the corporate world. He worked as a buyer and merchandiser at Whole Foods for 12 years. And
oh, wow. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm married to the spreadsheet king. It's amazing.
It's really good to have one of them in the family. I can tell you.
Yeah, right. Because I'm just like, ooh. Can we eat it? No, then I don't know what to do. So he joined the company, and he really helped push the company into a real legitimate business, like an actual legitimate business, where it was like, okay, well, we need to sell this many units at this time, and X and Y and Z, and started the relationship with Goldbelly. And not only was it just so life-changing for the company in terms of just the amount of revenue that came in from Goldbelly, but just the exposure, it was like suddenly there's this huge national platform where you would just see it kind of take off, where someone who had a lot of Instagram followers or someone, a celebrity would get a bucket and they would take a picture, and then everyone else would get it, and they would just kind of you would literally see how viral things happen. And that was it just ultimately just changed everything. And towards the end of 2020, we were like, okay, we have to stop doing this at a commissary. This is great and it's been really good, but we need an actual real on factory and shipping warehouse. And that happened last year. And since then, we've quintupled sales from the year before.
Wow.
Which is just bonkers.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And thank you. And I just never thought that this weird little thing that I started to not have to punch the clock anymore at someone else's place, I never thought it would become something that would support my family, or that I would, be able to support other people with. I really had no idea.
I mean, it's funny because everyone we've talked to so far, obviously, you're the first person who's working from like a different angle. I want to say with COVID, a lot of people had to shutter storefronts or shut down dining rooms, and that changed. I mean, that changed their whole line of business. But it almost sounds like what you experienced was almost like not enabled by the pandemic, but it was. So you didn't have to deal with as much going into it, and it's great that you've been able to take advantage of a tough time to make something so awesome. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. But
yeah. I mean, and the joke between me and my husband was that we never had enough money in the first years to actually make any big mistakes. like there was just like it wasn't a real enough of a business to actually be dealt any fatal blows. It was like, okay, well, we're gonna eat pancakes at home for 3 months and not go to the commissary. Okay, big deal. Like we were just really, really lucky. And right before the shutdown, we came very close to signing a lease for a production facility that would have required a lot of build out and ultimately would have been too small. And we just got spooked because everything shut down. And it was just like sheer dumb luck, honestly. Like I would love to say that we had some kind of genius plan and things worked out, but it was just like, timing, just luck.
Right. So something else that's come up a lot this season is people being in family businesses. And so I feel like now you've kind of you've gone from just you to your husband being involved. And so you've entered that family business territory. How's that been like for you?
And also your kid was just trying to jump on the interview. Your kids want to get on the podcast.
Yeah. So. It's great. And it's also really tough. It's great because, this person is 100% invested, is going to do whatever they need to do. And it's also really tough because you go home and there they are. And you go to work and there they are. And I know he gets his fill of me for sure.
But, so many other couples that were home working from home all throughout the pandemic together. It was like they lost the separation of church and state.
Right. Yeah. But I'm so lucky to have him on my side because what he's good at are all the things that I am terrible at. And so he's just really, really good at them. He's a big friendly white guy and I send him on the big friendly white guy missions. Like, if we need to go open a line of credit with a bank, he goes, talks to them and smiles and says, "Oh gosh, ma'am, it's so nice to see you again," and all that kind of thing. And I just, lock myself in the kitchen and frown and make ice cream. And so it's great. Parts of it work out really, really well.
I love that.
They always say you're technically married to your business partner, right? I mean, I feel like that way with my business partners. It's definitely that. But if you can manage to keep both, like the business side of it and the personal side of it working great, then you really are just nailing it out of the park because not easy to do. That's great to hear. So in terms of speaking of what we were kind of going back to what you were saying before, it sounds like you're, thanks to a lot of your efforts and then your success over the last few years, you're ramping up and you're getting bigger as time goes on. And I'm just wondering if you've learned anything through this process because you're a pretty unique company, but like it's kind of something you can expand upon and teach other people about. Is there anything that the process of getting bigger has taught you and anything that kind of surprised you, anything you pass along to other people who are looking to do the same thing with their business?
Trust 20 is a proud sponsor of the So You Want to Run a Restaurant podcast. Trust 20's ANSI accredited food handler certificate training is the freshest course on the market and made with the worker in mind. It's interactive, entertaining, and the test at the end is even gamified. Yes, you heard that right. Get your new team members up to speed on food safety in no time. Today, right now, this second, you got to do it. Trust 20 Food Handler Certificate training is available for individual and group purchases. Head to their site, trust20.co, again, that's trust20.co, and sign up for the newsletter to stay up to date, because Trust 20 will also be launching a food allergy certificate training this spring. Get your team a certificate today.
Just really prioritize what you spend that first clutch of money on. Go as lean as you can. If you're looking into doing a food business, don't splash out on packaging and logos at first. Make something really great, make a really great product, do it as inexpensively on the location side as you can, but spend all the money on the ingredients. Don't go cheap on the ingredients. Don't do that. But we were in a commissary for 3 years, and that the quantity and the volume that we did in the commissary, now that I think about it, was just insane. And I have no idea how I did this with my production manager, Hannah, who's been there with me since the beginning. I have no idea how the two of us made that much food, but we did, and we just did it. And that attitude and, being in a commissary where we were paying so little, like barely any rent at all, got us to the point where when we did move into a factory, we could buy the equipment that we needed. We could do the things that we needed. We could start spending money on the packaging. There's that. And also, honestly, this sounds so cynical, but get the best business attorney and get the best accountant you can afford. Those two things are so vital. I should never be trusted with any kind of accounting or reconciliation or spreadsheets. You don't want me to get anywhere near that. And so I know that has to be done by somebody else. And as far as a business attorney goes, their advice is worth their weight in gold. Like, you just will come across situations where you just really need that behind you.
I was going to say, I feel very much the same way as you. I'm not the spreadsheet guy. I'm not. I think we all pay accountants for a reason and lawyers for a reason.
Yes.
You stick the words out of my mouth. They're worth their weight in gold, because even if you sat down and tried to figure it out, it would take you days to do it. With something they could do probably in an hour. But that's definitely one of those, the true, unless you happen to be a former accountant who was really good at making ice cream that looks like chicken, congratulations.
Right.
You've struck pay dirt. But I don't know how many people have actually pulled that off. So,
yeah.
No.
So
That's
also,
funny.
I'm really interested because the product you make is, in terms of expansion and also e-commerce, this all folds in. The product you make is so visually pleasing that's got to factor in your social media game big time. And I'm wondering, how has that been for you? Are you a social media whiz yourself? How have you managed that part of the growth? Because for a lot of people, that's not an intuitive thing. You can do it when it's a small operation, but then all of a sudden when there's, I even have a hard time with it. Right. And I consider myself pretty adept at it. So I'm just curious as to how you've managed that.
And can I just add before you answer that? I would also say that your stuff would be awesome on, I feel like TikTok audience and the Gen Z folks would be obsessed with this kind of thing. So I'm curious too if you've tackled the wonderful world of TT.
Ooh, I have not. I don't even think that I will be allowed to do anything on TikTok. I'm way too old. They'd be like, no. You're way too old. You can't have this. You're gonna devalue TikTok by just getting on it, lady. Yeah. I am probably going to hire a social media manager this year because I am terrible at it. I am in charge of the company Instagram right now, and sometimes I am loath to post. I just feel like I don't have anything to say. I'm tired, and with everything that's happened these past couple of years, it's hard to get on there and be like, "Hey, everybody, let's get some ice cream," and it just makes me feel kind of gross. But I'm also really weird, I'm just probably way too weird to manage a company Instagram account. So my whole thing with that, because it's me right now, is I try to be as genuine as possible, and just post what's necessary. And I just can't post every day. I'm just not that person.
Yeah,
but
it is. It's work. It's a full-time thing.
It's a full-time job.
You if you're doing it the way that a lot of these companies approach it, you basically, it's not a post a day. It's 3 posts. It's all the spin on it, and that takes a different level. You can't be.
Oh God, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I give a lot of people credit. Some people are naturals too. But
I would also add that your product sells itself on social. So I feel like you're kind of like a Cameo, in that Cameo had a built-in marketing machine. They're that celebrity shout-out app. And that the people that were doing it were celebrities. It's like your food itself is so fascinating that I would think it's Instagrammable. Because we've talked to so many people throughout the last season and this season who were creating these pop-ups. And it was very much, hey, our food is very purposely made to be photographed online. We know that that's part of the restaurant experience, the foodie experience. So I feel like it kind of sells itself.
It really does. And we've been really lucky in that way. And again, none of it was by design. It was just what I wanted to do and what I felt I wanted to say. And I just wanted to make, visual, edible jokes, really. And when I started the company, I was at a point in my life where I was like, all right, we're either going to do this ice cream thing or we're going to, I don't know, maybe refinish furniture or something. But I was just kind of broken with food. And so the food I started making at that point, the ice cream treats, the novelties, I wanted to put some joy back there in the world. So I think that, what's happened on Instagram for us, our following's okay. I don't cultivate it in any way, which I know I should. But, it's all very genuine. It's all very authentic. I make what we make because it's funny. We enjoy making it, and it translates well on Instagram. And so we're lucky, but nothing's designed to sort of do that viral thing for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of which, I'm curious because you have a very creative mind. Obviously, that's your artistry shows itself in the product. But do you guys have anything? Can you spill any tea for us, or spill any upcoming products?
Ice
Are you
cream
working on
beans?
anything? Yeah, maybe it is a literal can of a cup of tea that's come up like ice cream. I don't know.
We have some very, very fun things coming up. I don't know why I'm obsessed with making food look like meat, but it's just always been a thing. And I know it's just probably really weird. But we are making little ice cream treats that look like mortadella.
Ooh.
It's strawberry with crispy marshmallows and pistachios. And we make it in like a cylindrical mold. And then we dip it in caramelized white chocolate that's been tinted to look like the rind of a mortadella. And they're hilarious. Like, you look at them in the box and you just start laughing because it's totally ridiculous and it's really
amazing.
funny. We just started doing that. We started doing that for Chubby Fish. It's a restaurant in town. They opened about the same time that we did, and it's been this. Oh, I love Chubby Fish so much.
So
We were there
great.
last
Yeah,
night.
I got to hang out with those guys. They're so great.
And it's been the most fun relationship. They opened the restaurant about the time that we got started, and it's just been this real sense of like kinship with them, of growing at the same time. And, James Linden, the chef there, I feel like we have the same sort of food brain. And so it's really, really fun to make things for them. So we started the mortadella for them. For Mother's Day, we're making a really nice box of ice cream bonbons, so like nice little bites of ice cream that look like really nice high-end chocolates in a nice chocolate box for Mom for Mother's Day. And for Easter, I kind of fell down this rabbit hole of antique metal chocolate molds from the 30s and 40s, like bunnies and rabbits and all that kind of thing. So we are making stand-up 3D rabbits and ducks that have a chocolate shell, but the whole inside is ice cream.
Very cool.
And those are really,
I just realized you do have a lot of built-in like malleability with holiday stuff. Like Valentine's Day must have been huge for you.
It was really good. It was very, very fun. It was really good. The holidays are great for us. And we were really surprised by Thanksgiving and Christmas that Christmas is colossal for us. And I just never really thought that it would be such a big thing for an ice cream company.
Well, I think it's because
very,
of the
very
gifts,
lucky.
the uniqueness of the
Yeah,
gifts. You're
it's
always
so unique.
Yes.
right. You're always looking for something new to give someone. You're like, oh, I don't just want to give someone a normal box of chocolates.
Right.
My grandmother's off the boat Italian who loves mortadella. I would love to give her this instead once it comes out. I think that would be awesome. She would love this.
Right.
She would love it. So
Yeah.
okay, so now
It's like a better Vienna cake.
right.
Yes.
Right. So now looking kind of into the future here, at what you hope for Life Raft Treats. I know you mentioned that you were considering a potential brick and mortar location at some point.
Yes.
Outside of more holidays, or did you want to talk about that, or just in general, what's kind of in store?
Yeah, what's on the line?
Yeah, sure. We are definitely looking for a brick and mortar, and Charleston real estate is no joke. The downtown is small, it's expensive. Everybody wants to be down there, but I'm surprisingly patient with that aspect of the business. We're going to find the right space, and when it works, it's going to work. We have our eye on something for 2023. But in the meantime, we are looking a little further afield, like in Mount Pleasant, which is this beautiful town kind of like across the bay, harbor, whatever, from Charleston, the main peninsula. So shops definitely are in the works. And, once we get one shop going, we'd love to have some throughout the Southeast. Like, we love Atlanta. I worked in Atlanta for about 12 years, and it's kind of a second home. Would love to have a shop there, have some shops in Southeast, expand wholesale operations some more, be available in Whole Foods throughout the nation. That would be great. And really the main thing that I would really like to accomplish with this growth is to be able to have more people on my team who can have a really nice life. I would love to get to the point where our company's minimum wage is $20, $25 an hour. I feel like sometimes I could be making soap right now, or could be making paper, but the main thing that drives me in this business is being able to have more people under our umbrella who can have a decent life. That's the main thing right now.
Yeah. I feel like we've heard
It's
a lot
really
of
refreshing outlook.
I feel like we've heard a lot of folks say that, and they're trying to support their teams, and especially coming out of COVID and all the things that the whole
Yes.
industry has gone through, really. So that's really refreshing to hear. All right. Well, I will certainly be looking forward to all of the treats coming out here. And before we let you go, Cynthia, we would like you to do the tasting round, which is our rapid fire round of 3 quick questions. First thing that comes to mind. First up, most memorable dessert you've ever eaten besides your own.
Oh my gosh. I had this in, there's this really small town right inside the Spanish border in France, and I stayed at this amazing little bed and breakfast there and had really simple, nice sorbet, fruit sorbets with like this almond mousse. And it was so simple, but just so simple and just astonishing in how pungent and bright the flavors were and the texture of the mousse. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
I'm
great.
definitely getting my travel recommendations from you. Was that Biarritz?
No, it was a town called Yo, LLO. It was tiny town.
No, I'm definitely getting my travel recommendations for you before I go back to France.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's the simple things, though. It's like if you can find the most amazing
Yeah.
vanilla
Right.
cupcake, I'm like sold, man.
Yes.
You can get that right.
Yes, absolutely.
Or just a simple chocolate and get the chocolate frosting flavors and the right cocoa. I mean, come
Oh,
on,
yeah.
that's it's not easy to do. Okay, next question. Restaurant technology or just technology in general in your business that you couldn't live without?
Our blast freezer.
I was going to say freezing.
Freezing.
Yeah, freezing. Our blast freezer. We have a blast freezer that can harden 450 pieces of ice cream, like 450 novelties.
Wow.
In about 15 minutes. It goes from like a internal temperature of 0 to negative 45 in about 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh. So don't.
Yeah, like we have to wear gloves when we pull things
Yeah.
out of there because it'll take the skin off
Yeah.
your hands.
I
Yeah.
was going to say, so
Wow,
don't put
yeah.
your hand in there anywhere near it, is
Yeah,
what you're
like
saying.
Dry ice effect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and last question, and I feel like Zach could answer this too. I feel like he's answered this for himself. A place you've never been that you'd love to visit.
Anywhere in the South Pacific. Just the islands and the water and the huts and no one around and just, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds nice.
it sounds very tranquil, especially now sitting here in the winter snow of Chicago. I will take any beach or tropical sunset, tropical weather right now. So.
Yes. For sure.
Well, thank you so much, Cynthia. This has been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
I love
you guys. Yeah,
what you're
absolutely.
building.
Thank you.
Love your treats. This was so fascinating, and I really look forward to seeing your success and the business that you're building.
Thank you
here.
so much.
Yeah,
you.
thank you. It was great to chat with you. Can't wait to send my dad
Yeah.
down to Georgia a bunch of your ice cream chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Want to hear more, listeners? Then you need to head to backofhouse.io, where you can find the latest on restaurant technology, food service industry news, a ton of free how-to guides, like how to digitize your space, how to work with food influencers, the latest on restaurant relief, and more interviews with industry experts. And while you're there, definitely remember to sign up for their free weekly newsletter, Eat.News. Back of House has a team of food service industry writers and journalists who cut through the noise and give you the headlines that you really need to see each week. This is honestly one of the best weekly food service focused newsletters I've ever read or seen, and I wouldn't say that if it weren't true. Follow us on Twitter at BOH_podcast and at We Are Back of House on all other platforms.